And you know what? Something just happened that is perfect for today's topic, because today's topic is stress and immunity, right? And the impact of stress on our immune systems. In particular, we're going to talk today about the importance of being well and staying well. But something just happened that was perfect for an event like this. I'm trying to simultaneously be in my Zoom where you guys have joined me, but also go Facebook Live in it and making sure that we're streaming this information so that not only can you not only can you add to your knowledge base and hopefully be a real asset to your community by sharing some of this information, but we thought we would go live and we would stream it. And things don't always go the way that we hope, right? I have no idea if I'm streaming right now. And that is acute stress. That's the kind of stress that comes and goes. It kind of gets our heart rate going, our blood pressure up. You can see it gets blood flowing in my cheeks, right? That's the kind of acute stress that we're going to talk a little bit about today, because acute stress, the stuff that comes quickly but leaves just as quickly, that's the kind of stuff that can boost your immune system. In fact, we know that natural killer cells, white blood cells, kind of get bumped up when we are under acute stress. Studies show that this is the way the immune system functions. It sees a foreign invader and it wants to fight off that invader, and it puts up its dukes and it takes care of business. But that's not really the world that we live in today, is it? We live in a kind of crazy world, and that world is coming at us fast. Because the world comes at us fast, we need to think about ways to take a step back. Take what I like to refer to as a personal inventory. I like to talk to people about identifying the things in their life they can change, the things they have control over, the things that are part of their will, and then letting the rest go. You know, I want all of us to take a lesson from the Stoics. I want us to get back into Greek mythology and some of our philosophers and think a little bit about the way the Stoics spoke, or the way the Stoics thought. They knew that there was little that they could control, and so they focused on the things that they could control. And because of that, we got some of the best philosophers, right? We got some of the best kind of belief patterns, and we got some of the things that all of us rely on each and every day, whether it's Confucius, Marcus Aurelius, right, Epictetus. All of these people put together kind of the adages and the philosophies by which we run our lives. You guys are familiar with The Secret, right? That where the mind takes us, the thoughts that we keep will dictate what's in front of us, what we manifest, what we create. And I want you to think about that particular idea today. I want you to think about it in the world that we're living in today, but in particular in this moment. Why do I want to do that? Because we're living in a very different moment where we are being asked to bob and weave. We're being asked to change our pace. We're being asked to wake up one day and have our approach to how we're supporting our household, our community, and our own personal well-being is changing day to day. It's what they're referring to as a fluid moment, right? A fluid point in time where we all need to let it go. Well, the super fancy people, they have a word for this when it comes to stress and immunity. They call it psychoneuroimmunology, right? And this is science. It is in fact that our body's white blood cells change by the level of stress that we have. Our endocrine function changes. I was just talking about how things not going the way I wanted to raised my blood pressure, raised my heart rate, made my cheeks flushed. Well, my blood sugars also went up during that period of time. And so did my white blood cells. I was starting to get into a fight mode, not a flight mode, right? And so we want to think about this idea of this psychoneuroimmunology, the fact that what's happening outside of us, but also what's happening inside of us, can have an impact on our immunity. And I bring this up because I want to bring the Stoics in, and I want to bring science and medicine together, because they do converge on what it is that you can control. So I need you guys to do an exercise with me. If we're going to get into the psychoneuroimmunology, we're going to boost our white blood cells. We're going to get our natural killer cells doing what they're supposed to do. We're going to need to turn inside for a moment. So do me a favor. I need you to go crisscross applesauce, right? I need you to get into your comfort pose. If it's not comfortable for you to cross your legs like this, you may even want to think about putting your feet planted on the floor. Maybe that's a more comfortable thing for you to do. We could do that. We're going to plant our feet on the floor. We're going to ground ourselves through our feet. I want you to wiggle your toes. And we're going to breathe in and breathe out. And the thing is that's so powerful about this is that in this world today, we rarely take a moment for ourselves. We rarely have what I like to refer to as driveway moments. Bring me back to that, because we're going to do some breathing here, right? But I want you guys to ground yourself. I want you to wiggle your toes, make sure that you're attached to the floor. And if you like the crisscross applesauce, and that's just a comfortable kind of opening up the chest, I want you to do that, whatever you're comfortable with. But I want you to do this with me. You're going to close your eyes, and we're going to breathe in and we're going to breathe out. There's a reason why I'm doing this. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose. And you're going to put the tip of your tongue on the back of your teeth, the upper teeth, and you're going to breathe out. And you might even make a whistle noise. This time when you do it, I want you to think of a beam of light that comes up through your body, out through your chest, and out through the top of your head. We're going to send that light across the world. All of our light connecting, all through our breath and all through our intention. The thing you may not know is that you just boosted your white blood cells. What you just did by breathing in and breathing out, putting intention to the world, a healing intention to the world, you have just raised your immune system. You have raised your vibration, and you have raised your capacity to protect yourself when we are worried about the influences of our environment. Why? Because of that psychoneuroimmunology. When you manage your blood pressure by breathing in and breathing out, when you create wellness within you through intention and through breath, you literally create more white blood cells. And this is an important lesson for each of us, because it's going to bring me back to that driveway moment I mentioned. How many of you listening to National Public Radio or your favorite song on your radio station or a podcast come into your driveway? You're done with your workday, you're done with your activities. You pull into your driveway, and what do? There's something great on the radio. It's a great podcast, and you just want to hear the end of it, right? I call these driveway moments, and I call them that because I sit in my driveway and I wait for the end of the story on NPR. And I do it because I'm taking a moment for me. There's a pretty good chance that the day was full of other things that I needed to do where my attention was drawn. And I want to make sure that I am consciously or otherwise, and that's oftenly, I'm awesome today. It's often otherwise, right? It's often where we don't realize that we're not taking time for ourselves, and our body forces us to do it, right? In those driveway moments. I want you to set a clock. I want you to set it on your watch. I want you to have something that reminds you throughout the day to take a deep breath, to focus on you, because it literally boosts your immune system. It also makes you more resilient for the people that are around you. It creates a sense of calm for them, your family and your friends, your workmates. In a time when we're being asked to distance ourselves from other people, where we are creating a healthy solution, right? Where through this social distancing, where we're going to flatten a curve of where we're working on this like hashtag flatten the curve, right? I want you to also appreciate that community builds immunity. And the reason why I want to talk about it like that is because we're in a time right now where you being an asset to your community, deep breath in, being able to handle the workload, be able to handle what's coming at you in this fluid situation, creates, simply by example, creates a sense of well-being for those around you, right? I was asked recently, what kind of leader am I? And while I didn't have an immediate answer, one of the things that kind of came out, because I thought, gosh, there's got to be like an answer for this, right? There's probably like 4 types of leaders and I'm supposed to know what they are. And then one of the things that occurred to me is that we all have an opportunity to lead by example. What kind of leader are you? Let's lead by example. So let's get into what you can do on a daily basis to support your well-being. If we're going to look at that psychoneuroimmunology, and we know that breath in and breath out can be protective, can raise our white blood cells, but also have an impact on the endocrine system, where we're able to keep blood sugars within healthy ranges, blood pressure within healthy ranges. Breathe in and breathe out. Lesson number 1 of stress and immunity and supporting your well-being is to make sure that you're taking time for yourself. Hashtag self-care, right? I want you to take your driveway moment, your asana moment, you're breathing in and you're breathing out. If your catharsis, if your take a break, if your unplug is doing push-ups, right? Laughing really hard, I want you to take time to do that. And that's worth doing, right? We don't want to spend a lot of time on the internet just scrolling, right? But there are some options that we have. If there's something that you have found on the internet that makes you laugh, you should know, just like the breathing in and the breathing out, laughter increases the immune system's productivity. It produces or creates a healthy immune balance. And in doing so, you're going to not just be well here, you're going to be well here. And that is part of what we want to create when we create an immune regimen for ourselves or a supportive routine for ourselves. We want to laugh. I find I like to laugh at myself. There's like endless laughter if I'm willing to look in at myself and giggle, right? Taking those deep breaths, so we've got these 2 things that we're going to do: deep breathing, right? Catharsis, let go, unplug, and we're going to find something that makes us laugh. We're going to do it each and every day. If you don't know what to laugh at, I think you should go back and find on the Google, on the interwebs, animal videos. They usually will make you laugh, or baby laughing videos. No one can resist babies laughing. No one, right? So if you need something that just goes, you know what, I'm going to need something to take my mind off of being in the house, cabin fever, everything that may be going on with my health and my wealth and my family and my community. Baby videos, babies giggling, the very best. And animal videos. Usually I'm a big fan of the dogs because they're usually a little less refined than the cats. Cat's not as funny, right? But maybe it's just because I'm a dog person. I'm not sure. But what we're doing, as goofy as all of this may be, we are telling and sending good signals to our body, because the endocrine system and the immune system work on a feedback loop. And so what we're doing is we're creating a healthy immune response by laughing and by taking a deep breath in. Our internal environment can help protect us from our external environment. And this brings us to the third thing I want to talk about, which is your diet. Yeah, you knew I was going to bring that up, right? So we want to make sure that you're getting plenty of colorful foods. And there's a reason for this: antioxidants. Foods that are very rich in color, in particular the blues, the purples, the reds, and the oranges, are all very helpful, not just in supporting the way the immune system works, but they also, because they are themselves free radical scavengers, can be very beneficial in supporting not just white blood cell activity, but circulation in the body, stopping free radicals from pollutants in the environment in itself. Now, this is not to say that there's a particular free radical scavenger for a virus, a cold, a bacteria. But what you should know is that free radicals are created when the immune system is bumped up. And so eating a diet that is rich in color, making sure that you're getting a sufficient amount of antioxidants, can be very protective in how the body's feedback loop works, how the body's immune system works. But more importantly, really what those antioxidants and a diet that's rich in color is doing for you is helping you deal with something that we haven't talked about, which is chronic stress. Really what's going on when I talk about that breath and how it can dampen that acute stressor, or how giggling when there's when you just need to take a break because the world is coming at you fast. I talked about having that acute stress can bump up your immune system, which is healthy. But what we haven't talked about is that for the most part, we live in a world where, because the world is coming at us faster, we live in a world where chronic stress is a reality for most people. And what that means is that your detoxification pathways are depleted or diminished. I often will refer to this as a savings account. In Chinese medicine, in traditional Chinese medicine or ancient philosophies, often the kidneys are looked at as a savings account. And this is our reserve. Well, this is also where your adrenals sit, your adrenal glands, your stress, the glands that are responsible for your response to stressors, as well as your response to sexual function, are little almond-shaped glands that sit on top of your kidneys. And that's one of the reasons why in Chinese medicine, there's so much effort to protect the adrenal glands. There's so much effort to protect the kidneys, or of course, that's what we call them in Western medicine, or the kidneys. But there's so much effort to protect these savings accounts, or your jing, so that you can be healthy into later decades of life. Most of us live in a world, and most of us live a lifestyle where we're spending through our stress hormones too quickly. We're spending through this savings account or this healthy jing too quickly. And that means that we don't have a reserve on tap for times like this, that we may not have a reserve on tap if we're not feeding ourselves. Feeding ourselves what? Feeding ourselves good words, good self-talk, good self-care. You spend a lot of time with yourself. Make sure you use very good words when you speak to yourself. Make sure you are kind to yourself when you speak to yourself, not just other people, right? We need to be feeding ourselves. That's how we're going to feed our immune system and support those around us. So I want you to feed yourself with good words. I want you to feed yourself with good breath. And I want you to feed yourself with good laughs. But I also need you to feed yourself with good food. And that's why we're going to focus on things that are blue in color, red in color, orange in color, purple in color, green in color, right? Now, this doesn't mean that you need to convert to a plant-based lifestyle, but I do want you to pay attention to foods that are very rich in color because they have the minerals, the antioxidants, that are going to support your detoxification pathways. But they also are going to be rich in things like vitamin C, B vitamins, magnesium, calcium. It's these minerals and these nutrients that are essential. And essential means your body cannot make them. If you can't make them, then you need to take them. And during times of stress, in particular chronic stress, we will have spent through those savings accounts, and we need to replete and refeed and restore our body's health, right? And we're going to do that through healthy nutrients, in particular things like vitamin C that help us make stress hormones, help us make serotonin and dopamine. So that we can manage stressors or our perception of stressors. We're going to put a pin in the word perception, okay? Because that's an important way to frame stress. Magnesium, a major player in blood vascular health, a major player in mental well-being, a major player in the production of these neurohormones, these neurotransmitters that can help us support our well-being during stressful times, in particular chronic stress. Because while this may be a time of acute stress for you, there's a good chance it's been layered on top of chronic stress. And that's why I want you to pay attention in particular to nutrition right now. So I want to ask you, how are you fueling yourself? What are you refeeding or putting back in? The right words: good breath, laughter, movement, but also those colorful foods. Listen, you are an amazing machine, and I need you to run on good fuel, right? Not jet fuel, which brings me to my next topic. What about some of the habits that people have? I mean, is there anything that may be depleting my immune system? Is there something that I may do each and every day? Just a minute, I want a drink of coffee. Is there something that you do each and every day that may be depleting your immune system right now, that may be making it harder for you to come back, right? And this is where a lot of people will ask this question when we talk about stress, when we talk about immunity, when we talk about well-being or being able to relax. Can I still drink my coffee? And often what I'll be asked is there a problem if I'm drinking alcohol? These are two things that we want to think about when we take that personal inventory as it relates to our stress. We want to think about whether or not we are over consuming food products that may be depleting our immune system. Sugar depletes your immune system. Many people are surprised to find out that of all of the free radicals that our body faces, the number one free radical generator in the body is in fact sugar. And it's because so many people are mass consuming sugar, processed foods, or simple carbohydrates, right? It's not just sugar that we're thinking of where someone goes, no, I gave up donuts a long time ago, right? I'm talking about if you get your food out of a box, if you get your food out of a bag, right? You may not be getting all the phytonutrients, the plant nutrients that you need. You may not be getting the micronutrients that you need, but you may be getting a really high percentage of simple carbohydrates, and those things are depleting your immune system. Coffee is something that we habituate to, and it can rattle people. It definitely is something that rattles the adrenals. It definitely rattles the body's ability to manage stress. Not because in some people it raises heart rate, but for those people that needs to be a particular concern, or that would be a particular concern. And we're going to just completely eliminate coffee or high caffeinated beverages from their daily intake. I want them to think more about herbal teas. I want them to think about more low caffeine teas, things like a black tea that has a low caffeine content is a good way to do it. There are some, if you really love instant coffee, there are some instant coffees that just tend to, because of the way they're roasted, instant coffees that have lower amount of caffeine in them. And that's a really good way for you to still have your ceremony, right? That hot cup of joe, without having all of the caffeine in it. So I want you to think about alternatives to high caffeinated beverages, things like herbal teas. Again, that warm tea can be something that creates well-being for you. That ceremony of just sitting down. Remember, it's like that driveway moment. What I want us to do is create some of these ceremonies for ourselves during the day so that we can boost our immune system. And having that relaxing time with your cup of coffee or your cup of tea can be a way to do that. You just may want to change the coffee that you're drinking or how often you drink it, or substitute out one of your cups of coffee with tea, right? So we're going to lower our sugar intake. We're going to pay attention to our caffeine intake, and we're definitely going to assess the alcohol consumption. There again, alcohol becomes sugar. It raises LDLs. It increases what are called free fatty acids in the body. And free fatty acids don't just raise blood sugar or cause concerns with blood sugar. They also create a fair amount of free radicals in the body. Again, only bringing us back full circle to the need of a healthy diet. I'm going to say there are some cardiovascular benefits of red wine. And while there are some benefits of moderate alcohol intake, if one of the questions you ask when I say, how do you de-stress, is I can still have my alcohol, right? I want you to think about that intake. So what have we learned? We're going to breathe well. We are to raise our white blood cells and support our immune system. We're going to laugh often. I laugh most often at myself, and I find that that's the best way to unplug. We are going to pay attention to the words that we speak to ourselves. We're going to eat a diet that is rich in color, and we're going to identify those things like sugar, caffeine, and alcohol that may be influencing our well-being, that may be stressing our immune system right now, right? We want to make sure that this starts with us. Why am I saying that? Because these are the things that you can control. When there's a world about you that you don't feel like you can control, or new stressors added on top of the old ones make you feel overwhelmed, we need to take a step back, take that personal inventory, and identify where our savings account is. And some people might think of this as a gas tank, like how much gas is in your tank, right? How long have you been driving too hard, too long without a break? And that's why all of these things can be the thing that helps support or fill back up your savings account or nourish that drained gas tank, right? And so this comes into this idea of creating this wellness routine. I like to call it a ceremony, right? Or introduce new ceremonies to your day. Drinking the tea may be one of the ways that you do this. Grounding yourself and taking that breath in and light out of your chest and out of your head may be the way that you do this. I can just tell you that science says, literature shows, that this does enhance the immune system. And that brings me to not my wrap up, but it brings me to this idea of the 4 R's, right? I want you to think about, how are you going to replenish? I want you to think about, how are you going to recycle? I want you to think about how you're going to repair. And maybe most importantly, I want you to think about how you're going to recover. And what I mean by these 4 R's goes a little bit like this. We need to make sure that we are replenishing. We're going to replenish with good words, good breath, and good food. We want to make sure that we are in a place where we can recycle our health. And what I mean by that is, we want to make sure that our diet is rich in color, or that we're utilizing antioxidants in our daily supplement regimen so that we are able to literally recycle free radical or antioxidants so that we can offset free radicals that are draining our gas tank, that are depleting our immune system, that are making it more difficult for us to detoxify. We're going to think about things that we do to repair ourselves. And this is a place where things like a good, healthy amount of protein is beneficial. When we think about athletes and asking them to repair their bodies, we give them antioxidants, we give them branched chain amino acids, we give them things that will build back up what they've torn down. And when your nervous system is overly stressed, when your body is overly stressed, you have a harder time building good collagen, good fibrous collagen, versus, as well as elastic collagen. You have a hard time putting it back and repairing. And this brings me to the idea of recovery. We need to make sure that we are recovering, that we're giving our bodies plenty of time to recover. And this means I want you to pay special attention to your sleep hours when you're trying to focus on immunity. I see the literature tell us that even if you're on vacation or you have a different work from home flexibility right now, or a different work from home routine right now, the kids are with you, your spouse or your partner is with you, you guys are coming and going. I want you to, it's all a disruption, right? So I want you to think about how you're going to recover from the day. Not just replenish or refeed or be good to yourself. I want you to think about recovery. And that means sleeping well. So with these changes in schedules, I still want you to go to sleep at the same time each night. And I need you to wake up at the same time each morning. Your body is built on routine. Your body's cells are waiting for those chemical signals that are that routine. And this is particularly important when it comes to your immune system. Let me tell you why. Every cell in your body is paying attention to a clock. Every cell in your body has a clock. And that clock often gets ignored. When you are feeling a little bit sleepy at night, but there's still something good to watch on TV, or there's still things you need to do, or laundry that needs to get folded, and you stay up and you end up getting that, what do we call it? A second wind. You've ignored your body's natural clock to fall asleep. And your cells don't respond well to that. Your cells, immune cells, all your cells that communicate with each other go, what is she still doing up? Like, okay, give her what she needs. And where are you stealing that reserve from? Right here, right? Those adrenal glands. And as a result of that, of your cells being on a clock that is run by daylight, right? Being on a clock that is run by daylight or artificial light. And that's why bright lights at night can also be very disruptive, and they dampen the immune system. They dampen the ability to protect yourself, boost white blood cells when needed, manage stress when needed. That, again, that psychoneuroimmunology is built on blood sugars, blood pressure, blood flow, as well as white blood cells. Your nervous system is dictating all of this, and it's all run by a clock. And that clock is run by daylight or artificial light. So when you keep yourself up at night with artificial light, ignore the clock signals, where at 9 o'clock, your body goes, nope, you really do. It's time to do this. It's time to go to bed, and you ignore that. Your body goes, this chick, she's still up. She's still working, right? And then everything starts to shift. And now what is shifting? Your hormones. Your hormones. Cortisol moved this way to keep you up. It went down to help you go to sleep, but because you're still up folding laundry or such, it goes up. Now everything gets shifted over, and you wake up tired, and you get sluggish in the middle of the afternoon. What you don't know is that you are also now not just tired, you're also prone to more to immune decline. You're prone to invaders being able to take hold and do harm. There's a reason why we're more concerned about different seasons of illness in an elderly population, or a population that doesn't sleep well, or a population that is undernourished, or a population that is overweight, and most definitely a population that is overstressed. When your cortisol goes up for a short period of time, you're in a protective phase or a protected zone. But that chronic level of cortisol being up depresses the immune system. High levels of steroids, high levels of cortisol are immunosuppressive. They are not actually immunopotentiating or supporting the immune system or healthy immune balance. Cortisol doesn't just add weight or weight to your body, centimeters or inches to your middle, your hips, your thighs. It's depleting your immune system, and it's making it harder for you to recover. What were the 4 R's? We were going to replenish with words, good words. We were going to speak nice to ourselves. We were going to replenish with good breath, diaphragmatic breath, right from here, right? We are going to replenish with good food. We are going to recycle with antioxidants. We're going to repair with protein or branched chain amino acids, and we're going to recover by getting a good night's sleep. This is how, in a world that is coming at you fast, you can support your health, you can support your immunity, and you can ultimately support your community. I want in this moment to remind people that community does build immunity. During this time, it is worthwhile to reach out to people. Reaching out to people through phone, let them hear your voice, right? Reaching out to people, maybe there's something that you found on the internet that made you laugh, and we know that laughter can increase immunity, so please share that with somebody. If you learned anything today, or we got some good tidbits for you, I'm going to ask you also to build the immunity of your community by sharing some of these tips with them. Let's go ahead and open this up to some of your questions. I understand that during times like these types of webinars that we do mute the audience so that we can get a good video, but I do have a chat box that I can talk to you through, and we'll see what kinds of questions you may have. If you have not typed a question, now is the time to do it. Okay, I got mostly hellos, and how long are you going to talk for, young lady? This is all recorded for those of you that have questions about that. We do, of course, record our webinars, and we would love to see you share these webinars. So I built this one so it would be on demand, so people will be able to find it in the future. So Lynn is asking me where we're going to post this. So you're going to continue to find these links through our Facebook pages. You may find them through different blogs that we support. So just keep a look at, and you're probably going to see some master lists come out that help you find this information. Thank you so much, Carmen. I love that you were here. So here's a great question. Do I think that time change badly affects our bodies? So I don't know that I would say badly. I don't know how remarkable I would say that hour is, partially because of just the way the earth moves, right? Like this is a periodic change that's happening when we think about the way light changes at night and how in summer it doesn't get dark until much later. So that's incremental, what our bodies are dealing with when it comes to light. With time changes, it does always feel ridiculously abrupt during daylight savings times. And as I understand it, it has more to do with agriculture when this decision was made so that farmers could work longer. And that there's probably no good reason for us to do it now. I don't know if I would use the word badly, but I do ask people to eat during daylight hours instead of when it's dark. For this reason, to pay, again, attention to the way your cells work and the way the clocks work in our cells. So this is a great question. I'm being asked about beta glucans. And beta glucans are polysaccharides, and that just means multiple sugars. And these saccharides are branched in a certain way. And where that branch is, a 1,3, a 1,4, a 1,6, right? That's not really what they look like. But where that branch is, has a lot to do with their immune capabilities. And so beta glucans are found in things like reishi. They're found in all mushrooms, but you've probably heard that reishi mushrooms, maitake mushrooms, cordyceps, astragalus, these are all mushrooms that are very immune potentiating. And the reason why they can support a healthy immune response is because of they're rich in beta glucans. There are also what are called yeast beta glucans, and yeast beta glucans have a strong impact on immunity, in particular because white blood cells called macrophages like to eat those because of their branches. They end up being fuel for white blood cells and literally can be engulfed by, I'm sorry, I meant to say lymphocytes, and they get engulfed in that. And then when the body is faced with an invader, macrophages and white blood cells like lymphocytes attack that. And now there's something waiting inside that beta glucan can then fight the invader. And so that's part of the way they work. I don't know if you're familiar, but like the aloe plant is rich in these beta glucans. And so aloe can be very beneficial as well in immune health. Mushrooms, yeast beta glucans, aloe beta glucans are very immune potentiating. And it's one of the ways that we often work with individuals to help them support not just a healthy immune system, but much of your immune system is in your intestines, surrounds the intestines. It's called the gut-associated lymphoid tissue. And we find that these polysaccharides, regardless of their form or their source, mushroom, yeast beta glucans, or aloe beta glucans, are highly beneficial to support GALT, gut-associated lymphoid tissue. So this is a great question. How long should we do the breathing technique to calm our stress response? I think it would be different for each person. Just like, what are we trying to do? We're trying to lower, if we do have an elevated heart rate due to an acute stressor, that deep breath, you'd be surprised at how just 3 really good deep breaths can be beneficial there. Let me just, remind that sitting down is a good idea. I don't want someone thinking that they're going to take these breaths, right? Because these are big breaths, and they're supposed to be grounding breath. They're not supposed to be rapid breath. I don't want people being like, I need to lower. I'm in a stressful situation, and then boom. So make sure that you've got something to hold on to, that you're sitting down, that you can calm down. And those many people will do meditative asonic type breathing for a prolonged period of time. But 3 very good deep breaths can have an immediate impact on the body. Very good. Thank you for being here, you guys. These are some great comments. Shannon, it was my honor to help build your immune system today. Okay, everyone, if those are our questions, there's no problem. We did put this on a loop. It should be on demand. Keep a lookout for our tags, for our links. And until next time, speak well to yourself and know that I want you to be healthy and that I already know that you're brilliant.